Another one titled Explore Spiritual Terrain Together. A lack of intimacy can often be traced to a lack of spiritual vitality. One study showed that spirituality ranked among the 6 most common characteristics of strong couples. When two people have a spiritual hunger or spiritual awareness in common, they become soulmates. In other words, spirituality is the soul of marriage. Without spiritual roots, couples are left with an emptiness and superficiality that prevents genuine intimacy. We will have a more detailed discussion about this in chapter 7. Partners who do not cultivate intimacy will, at best, live in an empty shell marriage, in quote. They will coordinate the practical details of their daily lives, who does the shopping, what car should be purchased, but they will live in an emotional and spiritual vacuum, never enjoying the full beauty of love, never enjoying the full beauty of love. Cultivate commitment. This is a subheading. When Tevier, in Fiddler on the Roof, suddenly wants to know if his wife of 25 years loves him, he asked her point blank, "Do you love me?" Their marriage had been arranged, and as Tevier explained to his wife, "My father and mother said we would learn to love each other, and now I'm asking, Goldie, do you love me?" Goldie eventually says, "I suppose I do," to which Tevier replied, "After 25 years, it is nice to know," and it is. While the romantic rush of feelings will eventually fade, another kind of love anchored in commitment will take its place and bring stabilizing peace to your marriage. To cultivate the important elements of commitment in your new marriage, here are some pointers. Assessing the high value of commitment. I can't reemphasize this enough, the importance of commitment in sustaining lifelong love. 3 doctors who studied 6,000 marriages and 3,000 divorces concluded there may be nothing more important in a marriage than a determination that it shall persist. It means that both of you will lose interest, but it is your determination that would continue the marriage. With such a determination, individuals force themselves to adjust and to accept situations which would seem sufficient grounds for a breakup. If continuation of the marriage were not the prime objective, commitment is the mortar that holds the stone of marriage in place. It means that both of you will tire, but it's both of you. The marriage only stays if both of you don't decide to end it. Meet your partner's needs is a pointer. Everyone who has taken a general psychological class and studied Abraham Maslow's hierarchy can tell you that human beings have a fundamental need for security. One of the best ways to give people security is by meeting as many of their day-to-day needs as you can. Once partners meet each other's needs to unwind after work, to have one night out a week, for example, the level of security in the relationship rises. Meeting even the smallest of the needs can cultivate the security of commitment. Another pointer, honor your partner's promise. People can become so focused on their own commitment and the sacrifices they are making for their marriage that they miss the beauty of their spouse's promise to them. We counseled a young man in his first year of marriage who saw commitment keeping as a sucker's game, a moral scam to cheat him out of his last chance for happiness. Since his marriage wasn't as satisfying as he wanted, he was ready to cut bait and move on, even though his wife was desperately devoted to him. Until we pointed it out, he hadn't even considered her gift of commitment to him. But recognizing how faithful she was in honoring her vow of love, this young husband decided he too could aspire to the fine art of promise keeping. Honoring our spouse's promise is a good way to cultivate commitment. Another pointer says, make your commitment part of your being. In a scene from Thomas Bolt's play, A Man for All Season, Thomas More explains to his daughter, Margaret, why he cannot go back on an oath he took. This is a good part. When a man makes a promise, Meg, he puts himself into his own hands like water. And if he opens his fingers to let it out, he needs not hope to find himself again. As human beings, we create and define ourselves through commitment, and those commitments become an integral part of our identity. When we contradict our commitments, we lose ourselves and suffer an identity crisis. You can strengthen your commitment to your partner by choosing to make it a vital part of your being by giving it top priority. So much so that to break it is to break who you are. How are you hardwired for love? Chances are that the two of you define love differently. Why? Because you have different personalities, and that means that once you are married, you will tend to give and receive love from your own perspective. Every thriving marriage is grounded in passion, intimacy, and commitment. Cultivating these three elements will help you successfully navigate the stages of love and make it last a lifetime. Now, let's read the reflection question for chapter 2, and it says, number 1, when did you first say I love you to your partner? Recount the experience. What were you thinking and feeling? Number 2, in your love life right now, which component of love seems most powerful? Passion, intimacy, or commitment, and why? Number 3, why is it important to know that love takes different shapes over our lifetime? Number 4, passion is typically the first component of love to fade in marriage. What can you do to prepare for the inevitable fading of passion without letting it die out completely? Number 5, what do you do in your relationship to cultivate intimacy? What else can you do to cultivate intimacy, especially when you are busy? Number 6, commitment is the bedrock of lasting love, giving security and allowing us to relax. Do you think that there are times in marriage when commitment runs thin? If so, when and what can be done to prevent it? Number 7, how has your concept of love changed as the result of reading this chapter? Number 8, after reading this chapter, can you list some specific things you can do to make your love last? All right, guys, the next one, we are going to be reading question number 3, which is chapter 3, titled, Have You Developed the Habits of Happiness? Now, that's the one next. Happiness is a habit. Cultivate it. All right, guys, stay tuned and have a beautiful love relationship. Bye.